Well, here we are again. Made a little bit more progress. I pulled the passenger side axle shaft out just by shifting the engine around in the compartment a little bit, but I can't get the driver's side one out of the spindle. It moves a little bit. It almost goes, but it's kind of in a bind, and I can't move the motor far enough away to do it. So we're going to go come along and try to pull it towards that beam off to the left here. That goes without saying, but don't work under stuff that's suspended like this because it's stupid. And apologies if the camera decides it's going to start clicking randomly. It just does that because it's a camera. Yeah, $40 camera that got beat pretty well. Right. When you're dicking around and stuff like this, always be ready to take off like a bat out of hell if this thing starts shifting. You don't want to be near it. I got no way to prop it up, so we're just going to try to get away with it here. Alright, now the light's in the way. Shoot. Alright. The light's out of the way. Now the plan is just to get the hook onto this with the come along, which I forgot. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, gotcha. Hook it onto yonder beam, and then just kind of pull this whole assembly my way. And that's what I think it's going to do. Either it's going to knock the whole car over, or it's going to pull the whole assembly out, and also disengage that passenger side, the driver's side axle shaft from the spindle. Except I can't get the come along to go now. See, letting the line back out. What's the trap? Pulling the motor by hand, ain't I? Not my intended maneuver. Let's see. Well, that's interesting. How the hell am I going to do this? I really don't want to hook onto the back of it, just because. No, that's all the cable we have. Let's see. Maybe an inch too short. Nope. Got it. Cool. Alright, stay clear. Try and pull that mess this away. See what to do. Alright, here goes. It's moving the car. Why is it moving the car? Oh, it's still wired to the car, that's why. Hold on. I'm assuming I'm not going to need those wires because they're attached to the old engine that I'm not going to be using this automobile. How can I get into that without endangering myself or others? Oh, no, that's fine, I do. Well, I can't see where I'm supposed to cut now. Oh. What the heck? Shoot, that ain't even... Is that attached? Oh, there it is. Alright. You want to not put any part of yourself under this thing while it's up in the air stupidly like that. Not a good idea. Yeah, I like to keep my parts Oh, we got a full battery, good. Rock on. Alright, now, is that loose? Yes, that's loose. Let's pull this wire here. Looks like I'm sitting around pulling my wire all the time nowadays. Well, what are you? I don't know, but whatever it is. No, not anything. It's in the way. Okay, is that clear? See, clear. The only thing that's hooked up, the only thing holding us in the car still is a driver's side axle shaft. I'm kind of hoping that if I pull the whole assembly that away, it'll give me just enough space to get that axle shaft out of there. Or I might pull it out on its own. So let's give her a chooch. That seems to be pulling through with it some. Not into that. Alright, let's see what we got here. Definitely not into angulation on this thing. Alright, that's giving me some room. So, try to pry this shaft out. Doesn't want to go. Yeah, it's in a bind now. I can't let the car down because the motor's in the way. Alright, let's do this. See if I'm in frame here. Alright, what we're going to do, get the lapping on her with the hammer and the extension here. So that should kick that axle shaft out of there and hopefully not run me over. Of course, you missed the important part, but I did manage to get the whole gas works loose. Just let the car down a little bit, took some of the bind off it, and then just by golly, chooched her right up. So I'm going to pick the car up a little bit again and yank this motor out here, transmission and whatnot. And then drop the sledgehammer underneath there. Then quit going near this thing while it's up in the damn air. Stay there. I forgot this camera only records like 9 minutes at a time. Not very nice. It works. Decent camera, assuming it doesn't have a whole bunch of roll out clicking noise like it usually does. Okay, so let's pick her up some. Nope, the other way. We're still straight here. Yep, that is almost perfectly straight with the beam. It automatically aligns itself side to side because it rolls that way. That's how she rolls. Okay. Of course, I step on the cord, it comes loose. Alright, that's enough room to get the motor out of there. Let's get the motor out of there. I think we're going to need to pull it with the truck for now. Which will work. Alright, let's do that. gonna hitch on this. Well, I mean, it's a motor just laying there on the ground. The damn thing ought to be, don't you dare say the E word until we're done. Alright, so don't say that. Let's just try to hitch up to it. See if it'll be hitchable here. Note that I'm not under it, I'm just next to it. Well, that ain't gonna tooch. Let's do it this way. There. Over by the mouth. Alright. Can I pull it by hand? Yes, I can. Ouch. Okay, that hurt. I'm not going to do that again. Let's see. Just need it out of the way out of there. I need something kind of heavy to park in the way here. Alright, I can do that. Now, what I really need to do is run over my camera and my tripod. But, barring that, let's just yank the truck overhaul. Back up to that spot there. Alright, good. Best we can do. We're tooching here. Hey, let's start it up again. Okay, hopefully out comes the motor. Okay, yep, he's on. Without egregiously damaging anything, I reckon I just pulled the motor out of that thing. And the transmission and the axle shafts. Probably without breaking anything too bad. Let's see what happens to this here. cost a lot of money when I put them in. Shoot, oh, I could probably fix it, maybe, as long as it ain't bent. Well, that's better. That gives me some room. Now I can sit her down on the front cross member and pull the K-frame out. Struts and everything. Once that's out, not really anything keeping me, well, I gotta get the back axle out too. But once all that's said and done, there ain't nothing keeping me from rolling the frame over here, taking the ass end out of her too, and that'd be it. And don't lean on that. Hang on, I gotta do something quick here. Never get that last little drip out. Okay. I'll unchain the truck from the motor and just kind of leave this thing here for now. Heck yeah, alright. Grab some yak stands. Well, looks like we oiled the dirt. Good. Return to sender. Good. Also note that these are not Harbor Freight jack stands. For not particularly obvious reasons, but if you don't know, now you know. No, you don't know yet. Hold on. I'll tell you. Harbor Freight jack stands have got kind of a poor reputation. Now, they might have improved. Harbor Freight, if you'd like to send me some jack stands to test, I will gladly test them. Although, you'll get an honest review. And sometimes you might not like the honest review, but at least, I mean, an honest review that says they're not the best is better than a dishonest review that says, oh, they're the greatest in the world, neato. And they fall on somebody and the estate sues. I'm not saying that would happen, but just, you know, the way luck would have it. All right, so let's start letting the car down some. Cautiously. Okay, that lays down, that's good. Make sure we're still straight vertically. I always want to be straight with the beam. I don't think we're going to pull this 18-inch super heavy-duty beam over, but kind of wouldn't want to be me if the boss seen me crushing the back end of the building. Actually, he wants to tear this building down anyway. Because it's ugly and the roof's falling in. As long as I can keep this shed from working on cars, shit boxes, trucks, and everything else, I'm going to try and do it. Well, you know, that K-frame is a lot more accessible with that motor in there. Still not the greatest, but boy howdy, that's easier than she was. Alright, what are we looking at for? I also notice I don't like getting underneath that either. I just don't trust it. Cause, I mean, no offense to Harbor Freight or anything, but maybe I don't trust my rigging skills or my assembly skills either. What I really need is a rigging man to come back. He was good at rigging things. I mean, not rigging things as in fixing them poor quality ways. I mean, rigging is in crane stuff. Kind of what we need. Let's don't get under that. Alright, so what we gotta do, can't get under that, get the big old honking pole, and give her a shove. Give her the directions. What really sucks, these yellow jack stands are awesome. I think somebody stole one of them. And they're from a place in Butler, PA called Trader Horn. It doesn't exist anymore. It's like a closeout store. Well, it was. Now it's closed, which sucks. I really wish they were still there because they had some awesome stuff and they were good prices. Okay, this camera only records 9 minutes at a time, so I got to re-up here. Please stand by. Okay, looks like we're running low on battery juices too, but we'll get that. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. Right now, my main prerogative is to get her sitting on the jack stands up front. Then I can start yanking the K-frame and the strut suspension and all that junk out. See, we're on it. We are on the passenger side. Driver's side. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there as just a safety measure. So it can't fall too far. It does. It starts falling. It'll fall, and that should catch it before it falls any farther, and it's going to cause any kind of personal injury. Okay, so now, I guess, well, look at the size of that engine bay in this thing. It's friggin' huge. Well, you got to fit the engine and the transmission in the same hole, so I guess it would be big. That's awesome. That's actually more room than I thought I'd have. Well, I'm sure it's going to be not the best of things when I get it going, but well, we'll see. We'll figure it out. But look at that. Hey, you can see all the way to the ground now. Okay, we're not hanging on the thing. We're firmly on the jack stands. Good, we're right in the cradles on them. That's what we want. She ain't going nowheres. I think I need to take this rubber splash shield out because she ain't doing nothing no more. That's splash shielding the side of the motor. Now I'm going to need to take that motor mount there out. Watch this. With god-awful loud noises. Well, that's a transmission mount, whatever it is. We need to take that mount out. I'll probably just bolt. Oh yeah, it does bolt in. But we'll find out. And over here, proportioning valve, and that's not going to work with the system I've got in place now. Whoops, where'd it go? There. Brake proportioning valve, which goes to all four wheels. That's not going to cut it this time because I've only got two circuits now, one for the front and one for the back. So I'm going to hook the master cylinder up to the front and the back, and I think I need an adjustable proportioning valve, but we'll plumb that in when we get there because that's not too awfully difficult of a deal. So we got to get the steering disconnected. We got to get the steering rack out of there. The struts, which I've already got the bolts or the nuts on them loose, so I should just have to let them fall out of there. They're not falling out yet, but they will. Once I take the K-frame out, the struts should just fall kind of out of there and be gone. Then I think, according to the manual, there's 4 bolts to hold the K-frame in. If I take those 4 bolts out, if I can find them and if I can get to them, and if they're not completely rusted solid, then that should come out fairly simply. Now my communistic converter there is sitting in a nice little tunnel. Not a real tunnel-y tunnel, but it's enough that I can get a little more clearance for the transmission, and that's good. I might take that heat shield off of there because, well, I'm guessing that there's probably no floor under it anyway, so we'll have to stick some diamond plate or whatever in there. But, so that's got to come out. And that whole exhaust system's got to come off of there in preparation for me putting the good one on for the new motor. The big V6. Mid-size, whatever. 3.9 V6. Oh, look at that. It's still got the catalyst inside of it. Check this out. Look at that. I don't know if I want to keep that or take her into the yard, because I got a pair that I got to put on there anyway, and they're OBD too, so the new ones have got to be the right ones. Wow, I'm actually doing emissions the sort of the rightish way. I've gone over the letter of the law and checked with my lawyer and such, and they say what I'm doing is doable. You can, I forget exactly what the wording is, but something about you can do it if you're improving the emissions to a newer certified configuration or something like that. I forget. Anyways, that you're allowed to do it. There's a couple of things rules you gotta stick by, but that's, we got all the stuff out of that old car, so the donor car, so we're just gonna stick by them rules. Away you go. There she be. Alright, I'm gonna pause her for now and come back after a bit. So I think I need to eat supper because I'm hungry. I've been working since 2 in the morning. It is now sometime well after that. Oh wow, look at all that space in there. Wow. Yeah, it's going to look smaller when I put that friggin' motor in there, but we'll see. I wonder if I should, well, it's not going to help any. I was thinking about taking the front end off, but that big ass cross member in there is going to get in the way anyway, so I'm just going to leave her. Alright, it is now 6:19 p.m., 1819 hours. Right on. And yeah, I'm going to take a break, maybe take a nap and come back. Because I really don't like to do, well, I'll take the K-frame out. And I'll tell you how I did it too, instead of just snapping my fingers and it being like tomorrow and the K-frame's out and I've already worked on it and didn't show anybody anything. That's the pain in the ass, and I'm going to continue to bitch about this every time I make a video about this kind of stuff. Like, these guys that do this YouTube stuff, they never want to show you how they did it. They just kind of, they don't ever show you how they did it, particularly the hard part, like getting those motor mounts apart, like how you're supposed to get them apart. All they show is they start unbolting stuff and then like snap, and they do a little transition thing on their video, and then all of a sudden it's just apart and a motor sitting next to the car, and you have no idea how. Well, we just took it out. You know, how? You know, throw me a freaking bone here. Well, I guess we can fix that by just me doing it, and me showing folks how to do the thing, I suppose. I mean, it is kind of why this channel's here. I should probably say don't do this stuff or whatever, but like, I mean, if you're gonna do it, be safe about it. Oh wow, that entire inner fender well is gone. Oh, here's a cool one. I like this. Behind the old computer, there's no fender. I think I might have done this on one of my previous videos. Come on, fender. Yeah. Get out here. All right, there you go. Behind the old computer was nothing, just empty fender hole. And I'm going to leave it that way because it's I don't know, weight reduction or aerodynamic or whatever the hell it is, or just I don't feel like replacing that particular part, and it's not necessary for the operation of the vehicle. Therefore, she will stay the way she be. Looks like I'm leaking some power steering fluid. Well, that's dead on top of where the grass is that I wanted to kill, so that's perfect. Alright, well that's going to be it for now. Pull the plug and... Alright, back to the Daytona project. I've got the camera off the tripod, so if you don't like poor quality video, then, well, oops. So I already got one of the K-frame nuts out. There's two nuts, which have the big dopey looking, I don't know, half spherical thing sticking on them. So to get the K-frame out of here, Got two nuts, one on either side, and I doubt you can see that, but like right around here somewhere. Oh, you know what? I got an idea. I'm going to use a light. That way, you can see things you wouldn't ordinarily be able to see because it's dark. I think that's where that came from, right there. Pretty sure. I can't see it on the screen, but yeah, take my word for it. It's around here somewhere. It's like, cause it was right in front of this rear control arm bolt. I think that's it right there. If it ain't, then oh well, darn. So the next one, that's a nut. There's going to be a bolt right here. That's the bolt, and then it's the same thing on the other side. So if you can't figure out how the K-frame comes out of there because it's totally rotted out like mine is, that's how you do it. And then to get my deep well socket in here, I just kind of unbolted the strut. Whoops. Well, oh, you can see it well enough. Hopefully. If not, then don't look. See if I can get my breaker bar and my deep well socket in here. If you can, then I'll show you exactly the sort of interesting problems we have here in Ohio trying to get stupid bolts out. Although I was rather surprised that nut came out of there, but that just means that the rest of it's going to be a pain. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a non-deep well socket to do this because this don't fit in here. Poop. I can't quite get the control arm far enough down. I unbolted the strut and brought it down some, but it don't come down far enough to do it. Alright, well, I guess you don't need to watch me take out a bolt. At least we figured out where it is and what we got to take out. I pushed the steering jig out of the way there. That's pretty much of no use to me at this point, but I may need it for something else. I'll be back. Well, I ran into another big pain in the ass. Is that there. I can't get the bolt to come out because it's turning inside of that mount. And I can't get anything on it to hold it still to make it turn, and the head of the nut's totally rusted off anyway. But let me make sure I'm on camera. I can't see the camera down there. We're right here. Now this thing, I got to cut through that because it's partly rusted through anyway, so I may as well cut through it and weld it. I'm not cutting the K-frame because I don't know. I still like cutting those because if somebody needs it, somebody needs it. We gotta tilt that out of the way a hair and down a hair. Like that. And yep, there we go. Alright. Gotta get you a good shot of me decking up some stuff. Right now we're just gonna grind. If I can remember where I put my grinder. Remember what I said earlier about the pain in the ass part they never show? Well, guess what? It's not the worst of it. I think well, I'm not going to say anything about already having the worst part done because it'll get worse than that. This shit is spiteful. Yeah. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to jump in there, get this copper wire out of the way so nobody steals it. I got my eye on you. And just chop. Go down there, the underside. I guess I'm glad I cut through that because I found out it was way too thin to weld to anyway. There's not enough metal left on there to do the thing. So we'll have to find another spot to stick our body mount, body to frame attachment, whatever, doohickey. new Mountain Dew pretty soon. Alright. Down there. You know, I probably could have chopped the whole thing up in one shot if I had a good grinder blade, but I don't. Okay, important side note. Oh, this grinder wheel's about to explode. When you're cutting this shit off, don't be underneath it when it falls off, because it probably won't feel real good, I'd imagine. Oh, I gotta unhook the steering yet. Shoot, hope it didn't just ruin that. Well, probably gonna end up putting the trunk column on it anyway, but yeah, we'll see. Alright, onward to the next one. Hopefully the next video you can see is me yanking the K-frame out from under the car, because if that's not the case, then it's going to be me fighting with the other side too. Well, good news. The third nut, well, the second nut came off, but the second bolt didn't. So here's my handiwork on the underside, in case you need to see it for whatever purposes. It's all nasty in there. So I'm going to do that same thing over here. Pain in the Richard, but if I move this here hickamajig backwards, see, that side's not as rotted out, but I can't, once again, I can't get to the nut on the one side of it. It's busted off, and the bolt is completely corroded off too. So what we got to do, make sure I'm pointing the camera at the right spot. Yep, okay. What we got to do is to take that out, and that's it actually. Okay, good. We're on cam. Yeah. Let's shove this aside. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so let's make sure this thing ain't gonna fall on my foot when it drops. Okay, that's good. It's going straight down, and I'm up. All parts of me are up. That didn't come out right. Oh, hold on. I gotta go get some Allen wrenches and go rip this joint off of this steering shaft before we tear the whole thing apart. I don't want to break that. I mean, once again, it's not really reusable, but the trouble is I might want to use that column, and I don't want to break anything on the inside of there. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, got me a little break. Came back out here, and I got the steering linkage unpinned. There's a roll pin that goes all the way through there, through the steering U-joint, through the hole in there. And they used a 1/4 inch bolt to smack that thing out, and away it went. Now, I'm going to attempt to chop through the last piece over here, get it off of there, and then the K-frame should fall out of the car. Hopefully that'll be the case. See if I can line up the shot here. I saw a couple of burglaries going up on there, up by the main building. I don't know, might not have been. They might have just been stalkers, who knows. But they probably oughtn't to have been there. I keep my eyes peeled. I think we'll use the Sawzall this time. Why is the rain blowing from inside the building? Oh, there's a giant hole there, that's why. Okay. This saw all. Hopefully it'll. Yeah, you guys just saw that, huh? Next. Job for the grinder than this thing. Have to do it in a hurry though, because somehow it's raining inside the building. Oh. Well, no, I'm still technically inside the building, but it's raining in here. Yeah, whatever. It'll do that on these big jobs. You'll have that on these big jobs. Alright, we'll just do the chop-a-tainer. Yeah, cautiously optimistically here. Oh, good. Now. Well, I guess that one's not rusty because of all the oil that leaks out of it was landing right there, evidently. Let's give her another shot here. See if she'll do it. You gotta watch this stuff. That's all I got from the Western PA. And you watch. Well, technically, that's where my whole family's from. Almost the whole thing. Flashlight. It went away. Let me get this out of the rain, because I think the rain isn't very good for lifting something. Probably don't like that. I'm looking at the building where it rains inside the building. It's even better for it. Well, inside building rain's better than outside building rain, right? Like Christmas snow, it's like magic or something, I don't know. So we're almost out. Like one little piece of chopped through. We gotta get the light where that one little piece is chopped through. Without getting electrocuted. Oh, that made a lot of smoke. Boy, howdy. Alright, where are we at? Oh, it's down here. Right at the spot where the light won't light up. Okay, we need. Wish I had that damn flashlight. Oh, there it is. Duh. Right where it fell. Alright, now hopefully the camera doesn't get too wet and break. It's not supposed to get wet at all. But they can take some abuse. That's why we call it electronics abuse. I mean, if we weren't being mean to electronics, it wouldn't be a very good channel. Alright, give me that. Alright, you may not be able to see this because the light's probably in your eyes, but I can see it. And that's all that matters right now. I cut this brake line off of here. I might not have broke my stupid thing. It's always the last damn piece to come apart. How is that even attached? Right on. Well, the good news is it's got fresh brake fluid in it. Alright, I think I see an angle that I can chop into it at. Let's try that. I think that'll get me through. Yeah. Ow. Alright, she's back on. I got her disc on the grinder, and I think we might have it. The problem we're getting into now is I don't have anywhere to get a good angle on it. That's chopped. Throw that in the groundhog hole. Seems like when I throw irritants in the groundhog hole, the groundhogs come around less. Usually throw all my junk grinder discs and all my nasty grinder dust and stuff in there. It seems like it helps. It probably doesn't. I'm just placebo affecting it. Let it be. I'm having fun. That's good throwing practice. Alright, one more shot. That gets it, that gets it. If it don't, I'm going to have to do something else. Alright, there we go. fell right out of there. Why didn't it? Did I miss a spot? Well, let's go get the pry bar. Jordan Freeman special. I'm not asking anymore. Yeah, give me the whacker here. Oh, there it is. Right fix into there. I can't get her to separate. Well, sorta. Well, it's still in one piece. Soonly it shall not be. Preferably. Come on. Why is that not? Crap and poop and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have black slot tomorrow. Maybe if I cut it like this. Well, I'm through it all the way around. How come it ain't coming loose? Must have done something wrong. Well, I guess that's it for. I wasn't gonna try to damage the K-frame at all, but it looks like I got a little bit of it out of there. Get her a little lower here. That last little tiny bit. Last one little tiny bit there. How is that even still attached? Alright. Keep a whacking at her, I guess. The thing's unattached, I can see light through it. How come it ain't coming out? Alright, give me the Jordan Freeman here and we'll see if we can get it. That's the way it is. There we go. Ha, I'll show you. That'll learn you. Alright, cool. I didn't damage the doohickey too bad. Alright, cool. Well, the K-frame's loose and the struts are both out. Although I might have to take the bolts off of one of them to slip it underneath. Oh, I just picked the whole car up. Heck with that. I forgot. Now, I'm unable to put wheels on it, so I gotta either fix it where it is or devise a way to haul it if I have to. Huh? How come that didn't come off of there? Huh. Oh, that's weird. Everything with this car has always been a battle, and it continues to be so. It is the rebuilt salvage, and I think everything's crooked on it. And by everything, I mean everything. The steering still ain't detached. See if we can maybe give her a little bit of persuasion. Oh. Well, that came off the wrong end. But it came off nonetheless. Oh yeah, now you come off. That's good. Give me that. That's plastic. What the heck? Plastic steering components? Eh, whatever. As long as it steers. I probably want to put something better in there. Ah, there we go. Cool. Alright, so here we are. The roll pin goes through that hole, and then looks like it's got splines on the inside of there, and it's got splines on the outside of there, and that's got a hickey that it's got a notch that the roll pin passes through to hold it. It's designed for that. Some of these aren't designed for roll pins, and if you put a roll pin through it, it'll snap off and murder your everything. Alright, will this go back on? Whatever is up in there. Probably not, no. Stick my finger up in there and get bit. Oh, it's greasy. Yeah. Alright, well there's a greasy shaft up in there. And I think this sticks on the end of that little D-shaped thing. Alright, in case you missed that, I finally got the last little bit of metal chopped out. Got the K-frame on the ground, and that shaft has got a notch in it, and it's got splines. And then the steering shaft, which came out of the wrong end, which I'm not sure I'm going to be able to put back in, this has got a hole through it that a roll pin goes through. And the roll pin rides in that notch in the shaft down there. And at the same time, it's splined onto that shaft. So, it stays on once you put the roll pin in, as long as that roll pin stays in. But you gotta use a halfway decent roll pin or it'll suck. Alright, well, that's it. We got the K-frame loose. That's all the front suspension out. Engine and transmission are sitting in the yard up on blocks, and I can't see it because it's dark. Looks like the heat shield fell in on it. I have to get that you-know-what out of there before somebody else does it for me. So I'm probably going to need that later in the game. I'm going to hang on to this just in case. Yeah, the K-frame's got some rust through on the back, but I think it's usable still. There it is. I have to weld up some new metal bracket. Wow, Monroe struts. I just noticed that. Completely rotted out Monroe struts. Tell you what. Where'd that go? There it is. Monroe. Well, I guess the next thing I got to do is do a little bit of work on the frame. I've got to get, let's see, frame's over there. I have to get the rear shock mounts put in. I have to work on, well, I can finish painting it while it's under the car because there's going to be enough of a gap. I need to work on this one little rusty spot down here. Right there. You can see this here is kind of pushed out a little bit. That's not too bad. I've already got a patch piece I'm going to put in there. I'll probably grind these sharp pieces off here so my tire don't get pushed into it somehow. There's my patch piece right there actually. Let's see. And part of that's going to end up being shock mounts because it's not the original back end of this thing. Get all the brake lines done in the back end. I figure I'm going to wait to do the front brake lines and the calipers and everything until the car's on top of it, because just that's the way it is. Oh yeah, if I need to rebuild these calipers, I'm going to want to have a source of line pressure to push the pistons out of it. And it was a giant pain in the ass before, because I had to pump it full of grease and then get all that every last little tiny speck of grease out of there, or else it'll ruin the new seals and the pistons. So I figure instead of that, I'll just hook up the dang car, the master cylinder in it, and if I have to rebuild the calipers, I'll just use the master cylinder in the car to push the pistons out of the calipers. Now, interesting thing about this is the pistons in these calipers are larger than the ones in the car, and the piston in the master cylinder in the car is smaller than the piston in the master cylinder in the truck that this original frame came from. So that means that I'll have a mechanical advantage on the brakes on this thing, although the one thing I am worried about is the brake pedal pushing down too far, but I don't think it's going to do that because it's a lot lighter than it used to be. And I'm going to probably try to leave this tow bar on here. That front frame sticks out a little bit too far, but I think I'm going to try to keep it. And what I'll do is I'll just build a big old ugly bumper, a step bumper with a winch on it up front, when I need that step bumper to get underneath the hood, because this thing's friggin' 8 feet off the ground. Well, not 8 feet, but you get the idea. And that transmission's small enough, and the engine sits far forward enough that that tunnel should be just plenty for it, where the communistic converter used to sit. And I got to run dual pipes with newer communistic converters along here. And I'm going to put a pair of Chevy Caprice mufflers on it. And it's going to be a quiet off-roader. At least in theory. This transmission is going to come down a little bit because that mount is going to get lowered probably about 2 inches. It's going to tilt the engine back just ever so slightly, but it's also going to give me a little bit not quite so horrible pinion angle. And if you haven't seen the post in Sloppy Mechanics, here's what I do. I started writing the part numbers for the U-joints and everything on this stuff, so if I blow it up and out in the road somewhere, I can just buy a new one. I know what the part number is. I've also got spares because that pinion angle is horrible and I don't trust it at all. It's going to get a little bit better, but it's going to need some fixing pretty soon. I got to get some little them wedge pieces to stick in this axle underneath the springs to tilt the front of the axle up just a hair. I think if I tilt the motor down a little bit and the axle up a little bit, I'll have it within almost reasonable pinion angle. It's within getting away with it territory anyways. It's probably going to vibrate like hell, but it's usable. Well, there it is. That's about it. I mean, shock mounts, transmission cross member, a little bit of work on that, and a little bit of work on the frame on that side, but you can see a little better over here. Grind that out. Doesn't even have to be nice because it's got plenty of frame left in there that's still solid. And you see my black stuff on the black paint on here. It's kind of getting dirty from sitting under this building. That black paint is Rust-Oleum rust converter. I'm going to spray the whole thing down with that probably in a couple of days when it gets warmer a little bit. It'll be just warm enough to paint. I'm going to take advantage of it while I got it. And I figure once I got the car on top of there, it's going to shield it from the rain a little bit, so I don't have to worry as much about it getting rained on. Of course, also, once I have the car up on top of there, I can roll the damn thing in the garage. Or roll it over to this dry spot over here where it's not raining. The one last little dry spot where the roof doesn't leak in the building. Look at all that room in there. I mean, I could put it like a twin turbo 5.7 Hemi in there. Well, you know what? I do have a transmission that'll fit that. It's 4-wheel drive. That'll be cool. That might work. I'll think about it. Alright, well, she's up on jack stands. We got everything unhooked. The K-frame sitting on the ground. The motor sitting under a cover out in the friggin' middle of the yard. Hooray. Thank God I'm a country boy. All the valuables are removed. That should do it. Get a little last shot of the front here. Yep, I'll see you later.